Good evening, members. Welcome to the extraordinary council meeting this day, the 27th of October 2025. I'll read out the fire evacuation procedures. There is no fire drill planned. So if the fire alarm sounds, please follow the committee staff and leave by the exit nearest the large screen at the front of the room and proceed down the fire exit to the courtyard. Once it is safe to return, councillors will receive a text message. Officers will also advise when it is safe to return to the meeting. We are recording the meeting this evening. The webcast will be transmitted live on the Council's YouTube channel and will also be available on the Council's website. Generally, the public seating areas are not filmed. However, by entering the St George's Suite and using the public seating area, you are consenting to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting and training purposes. Before we begin this evening's meeting, I want to speak about what took place at the full council on the 18th of September. That meeting was not good. In fact, it was one of the most disappointing I've ever been at in the last 25 years of serving the people of this borough. What unfolded that evening fell far below the standards expected of elected representatives, and I'm deeply sorry for our residents and staff to have witnessed it. Over my years on this council, I have worked alongside people of every political persuasion, and I has always believed that we can disagree, sometimes fiercely, without being disagreeable. But there is a line between debate and disorder, and that line was crossed. When I sit in this chair, I do not sit here for any party. I speak as the Mayor of Basildon. The office, not the individual, commands respect, and it stands above party politics and represents the people of Basildon and the democratic process. For those watching at home, I just want to be clear that this council can only function when every member abides by our constitution, our standing orders and the conventions that have guided this chamber for decades now. These rules exist to protect fairness, order and the right of all members to be heard. If individuals come here determined to ignore those principles in whatever manner, and test the levels of decency and decorum, then they should understand that I will act. It is my duty to maintain order and uphold the authority of this chamber, and I will do so without fear or favour. Respect for this chamber must be mutual, and if you cannot respect it, you cannot expect the chamber to respect you. Our residents deserve better than what they saw last time. They expect professionalism, not playground behaviour, debate, and not disruption. So tonight, let us restore dignity to this council and demonstrate that we can all disagree well with each other in the interests of those we are here to serve. Thank you. Number one, I move on to apologies for absence. I received apologies from councillors Ball, Palmer and Harrison. Are there any further apologies? Councillor Blake.
Apologies from Councillor Turner, Barnes, Jeffrey and Mordecai.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other apologies for absence? None. Thank you. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest to be made by members? On block, I will take those of Essex County Council. Councillors, are there any other declarations of interests? Thank you. Announcements. Are there any announcements from the Leader of the Council? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Can I begin by thanking the staff and all the contractors who have worked so hard to open the new Wetherspoons pub in Basildon Town Centre in the last week. It has been a huge success. I'm told that its opening week was one of the most successful in the history of the entire Wetherspoons group. It is proof positive that those who talk down the town and tell you that everything that we propose will be a white elephant could not be more wrong. Build it and they will come. Over 50 local jobs have been created already, and the manager tells me that they're looking to go back out and recruit even more, and the council will support them with this, as Councillor Power will tell us all about shortly. Members should also be aware that the council has now completed recruitment for our most senior officer posts, and I'm pleased to say that appointments have been made. We look forward to welcoming our new senior team early in the new year as they spearhead the next chapter of this council, driving forward our regeneration programme, our housing investment, and of course preparing for the coming changes through local government reorganisation. This is an exciting time for Basildon. We're growing, investing and building for the future, and we look forward to welcoming these new officers to our council. On that note, I want to formally welcome the £40 million Pride in Place funding that Basildon has received from the Labour government. That is the single largest investment in our borough's record. This funding will deliver new projects across Leindon, Basildon and Pitsea that will also benefit residents from across the whole borough. We've already begun engaging with residents on how this money should be spent, and early next year we'll formalise that process, asking local people directly to come forward with their priorities. Because this administration believes regeneration should belong to the people that it serves. On local government reorganisation, on the 26th of September, we submitted our business case to government, meeting the official deadline. The case outlines a range of options from 3 to 5 new unitary authorities across Essex. Ministers will now review those options and make a decision before the end of this municipal year. I've held a series of meetings with ministers and senior officials to set out clearly why in Essex the 5 unitary model is the right one. It's the fairest, most financially sustainable and most locally accountable option. But Mr Mayor, I do want to put on record tonight how deeply disappointed I am by the behaviour of Essex County Council. At a time when we've all been working together in good faith across party lines, Essex County Council has decided to go rogue. They've spent millions of pounds of taxpayer money printing, delivering and promoting a glossy leaflet for their doomed 3 unitary model. It's been posted to every household in Essex, and it is quite frankly a monstrous waste of public money. Officials at the department have told me that they are disgusted by it, and it is clear beyond any doubt that Essex County Council have breached the Local Government Publicity Code. Section 15 calls for local authorities to ensure that publicity relating to policies and proposals from central government is balanced and factually accurate. It goes on to say that publicity should present the facts clearly, fairly and without bias. Section 16 of the code says that publicity about the services and functions of the authority should be objective and should not seek to influence public opinion in support of or opposition to the policies of the authority or any political party. This is the even-handedness clause, the foundation of how councils are expected to behave, and Essex County Council has completely ignored it. At a time when they can't find the money to fund youth services, fill in potholes or replace broken streetlights, they can somehow find the money to post propaganda leaflets to every single home in Essex. It is completely outrageous. And, Mr Mayor, totally pointless. Because the decision is not theirs to make. It rests with ministers in Whitehall. So this leaflet won't change a single thing, except the public's confidence in Essex County Council's judgment. They should stop this immediately. And I urge members to join me in writing to the leader of Essex County Council to express our disgust at this grotesque waste of public money. Now, Mr Mayor, let me turn to the issue of housing and temporary accommodation, an issue that continues to weigh heavily on all of us. The cost pressures for TA remain severe, and the human toll is very real. I meet families every single week who are in temporary accommodation, and I understand their anxiety and I share it. That's why over the last 18 months, this administration has acted. We've now acquired more than 480 new homes for homeless families since October 2024. That means, Mr Mayor, we are on course to exceed the 500 target by the end of the municipal year, 3 years earlier than anticipated. To put that into context, in the last year of the previous Conservative administration, they acquired 0 new homes for temporary accommodation.
Woeful.
Not one single home. We forecast in the budget an annual 31% increase in temporary accommodation. Yet the actual rise over the last 12 months has been 16%. That's progress. We've also seen a 35% reduction in the number of people housed in hotels and bed and breakfasts, and a 77% reduction of families with children staying in hotels and B&Bs. In fact, right now, only 7 families with children are in hotels or bed and breakfast. That is the lowest figure since Liz Truss crashed the economy. Even more encouraging, 73% of families with children have now moved out of temporary accommodation altogether into settled housing within our borough. Mr Mayor, that is not luck, that is leadership. It is the hard work of our officers and the political will of this administration to grip a crisis and to deliver for our Basildon people. We're also getting smarter when it comes to TA with the data. We know that 27% of homelessness presentations are due to private landlords ending tenancies, and 30% stem from relationship breakdowns with their families. That insight means better prevention, and the results are now showing it. 2 in every 10 cases are resolved before someone even becomes homeless. And when we compare our progress in the last 18 months, Basildon's temporary accommodation growth is 15.9%, compared with 107% in Thurrock and 61% in Southend. We are leading the way in gripping this crisis. And whilst there is more to do, we are turning the tide. Now, on the issue of houses in multiple occupation, HMOs, in August we commissioned a dedicated task force following an extraordinary council meeting. I want to update council that since then, officers have conducted 235 inspections of properties with 5 or more people living there, and over 70 inspections of HMOs where there are less than 5 people. All of these properties have been reported to us by residents and have been entirely community-led. These visits have uncovered issues across planning, licensing, waste and environmental enforcement. And crucially, they've helped us to separate myth from fact about what's really happening in our communities. In 77 cases, landlords have refused to engage. That isn't being tolerated. So we are now moving to the next stage, using legal powers to tackle fraud and non-compliance through the courts if necessary. We've identified particular hotspots in St Martin's, Lee Chapel North and Nethermain, and additional resources are now being deployed. We're progressing the Article 4 direction to control HMOs, and will do so in a way that is robust and not open to judicial review. In fact, on Wednesday evening at Cabinet, we will take the next steps in starting the formal consultations on Article 4 directives to protect Basildon residents. And for those councillors who are passionate about introducing Article 4s, I look forward to your full-throated support when the local plan comes before you next month. Since the task force was established, we've also successfully stopped 3 properties from being taken by the Home Office for asylum accommodation. We will continue to stand up to Clear Springs, to rogue landlords and to anyone exploiting our communities and vulnerable people. Finally, since we last met, Basildon has approved planning applications for 2 major economic development sites, including a £1.3 billion state-of-the-art data centre that will create 3,000 new jobs. Just in case people didn't quite get that, 3,000 new jobs here in the Basildon Borough.
One more time.
They look delighted by that. Who knows, they might even be looking for one before long. Alongside this, we've secured over £4 million in skills and training investment and in the Section 106 infrastructure contributions to make sure that local residents are first in line for these opportunities. No other council in the country is investing in skills and training for their local people at the pace and scale that we are here in Basildon. We're regenerating our town centres, we're building homes for our people, we're creating jobs for our future, and we're bringing pride back to Basildon, and yes, we're even bringing a supermarket back to Wickford as well. Because, Mr. Mayor, this council doesn't just believe in Basildon, we are proving every single day that Basildon can believe in itself. It has been an incredibly busy few months. There is so much good news to tell you about, and I am excited about the run-up to Christmas, where we are going to have even more news to share, particularly around the regeneration of Basildon Town Centre as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Any further announcements from Cabinet members, please indicate. Okay, seems everybody, doesn't it? Okay, Councillor Power.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What does it look like working to improve Basildon? Investment, new jobs, opportunities, maybe even a new pub. People out socialising and using our town centres, our economy is growing, and residents are seeing change happening with their own eyes. It is worth repeating, in the last 6 weeks, we have secured over £1 billion of investment into this borough. Created over 3,000 jobs and seen a real uplift in the community and those wanting to come along for the journey. This administration understands how to grow, listens to what is needed to succeed, and we're the only ones looking at the borough in a new light. So let me give you all a headline of the last 6 weeks. We will see a new data centre, the largest single investment in Basildon that's ever been seen, set to secure and support over 2,000 jobs, alongside opening and improving access to green space and improving biodiversity by over 30%. My favourite event of the year, Basildon Skills Show. It was the biggest we've ever seen. 2,000 young people meeting 50 businesses, training providers and universities. Dedicated times for schools to attend, ensuring that it was an inclusive and welcoming event for all. Young people were there to discuss their next steps. And a massive thank you goes out to all of the sponsors and the businesses for your support to continue to deliver this really important event. Last Thursday, I launched the Basildon Construction Academy. This is a direct response to the challenge of the construction skills gap and our ongoing regeneration programme, which creates jobs for life for our residents, getting Basildon building Basildon. Partnering with some of the best training providers in the region to deliver high-quality, industry-relevant education. We've also seen Elevate Basildon Business launch this month, with 131 businesses and entrepreneurs already signed up to learn new skills and network. One-to-one support and exciting workshops, including finance and funding, AI and innovation. And in case anyone missed it, we've already discussed it, a new pub has opened in town. And what a success that's been. Not a seat or table spare every single day for the past week. It was a pleasure to meet and work with the management team to support their recruitment drive. Over 50 local people secured positions working in this pub, and we have a date in the diary next month to continue to expand that team. Finally, last week I announced the return of the Education Essentials Bursary. This is an opportunity for young people in education to access a one-off grant to support with travel, books or supplies. The future of the borough relies on the success of these young people, and we are the ones supporting them to make the best decisions for the future. Mr. Mayor, this is just a highlight of what I could talk about from my portfolio. And as for the next 6 weeks, we will see better news, more investment and more success for Basildon. We are investing more into skills than anywhere else across the country. We are the administration with the ability, the vision and the determination to ensure success across the whole borough. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McGeorge.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. On the 27th of September, the Council completed its 100th DFG adaptation of the year. That's 100 residents whose lives have been improved, ensuring they have full access within their homes to be able to continue to live independent lives without having to be moved elsewhere. Between this Thursday, the 30th of October, through to the morning of Friday, the 7th of November, we have again the digital diagnostic health check machine coming to Basildon in the town centre. This will enable any residents, regardless of age, to come and have a health check. This is a really important tool and gives residents an opportunity to identify any health concerns that may be affecting their day-to-day lives. This will be a free service, and I urge as many residents and members to attend as possible to take advantage of the opportunity. Don't come and laugh when I get my results. On the 6th of November, we'll be having a roundtable with all healthcare providers in the area to see how, as a council, we can help improve services for our local residents. And whilst the CQC report in Basildon Hospital has been a concern, it does not paint the full story of the whole service provided. Our doctors and nurses do fantastic work for our residents, and we should not let this report stay. Coming up, we have the CDC in Pitsea opening, the Eastgate Hospital opening, and Basildon Hospital has a new extension in the pipeline. The leader will be meeting with the new Chief Exec of Basildon Hospital, and we're looking forward to working with them to provide what help we can to the hospital. As an administration, we are committed to improving the health outcomes of our borough, and this is just the beginning. Well done.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Emma Callaghan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few updates from me this evening. So, over the past month, we've launched a new programme of women's self-defence classes across the borough, and I'm delighted to say that almost 100 women signed up for our 3 pilot sessions at the Paragon training facility. I want to give a huge thank you to the Paragon team for allowing us to run these sessions completely free of charge. The feedback was great, the sessions were informative, empowering, and best of all, a lot of fun. And I want to give a big shout out to our sensei Lindsay from the Zenshin-Do Self-Defense and Martial Arts group for making them such a success. So conversations are now happening to see how we can keep these sessions running for free, so every woman in the borough who wants to take part can do so without barriers. On a related note, we'll be lighting the Basildon sign orange on the 25th of November to mark the UN Orange Day of Action. Standing in solidarity with survivors of domestic abuse and those who work every day to keep people safe. In recent weeks, I've been out with Councillor Melissa McGeorge, visiting our sheltered housing schemes, meeting residents as we approach both Remembrance and Christmas season. It's been a privilege to listen to their memories, hear what matters to them, and make sure that as we begin our Christmas events, we reflect on the spirit of togetherness and gratitude that Remembrance always reminds us of. We've also continued our Safer Communities engagement work with nearly 200 residents attending events in Pitsea and Langdon Hills. These sessions gave residents the chance to speak directly with police officers, ward councillors, and our community safety team about everything from street lighting to antisocial behaviour. The feedback was brilliant, and residents especially appreciated the free crime fighting kits. Simple tools like personal alarms and anti-theft devices that make a real difference to how people feel day to day. And finally, we've been analysing feedback from the brilliant Basildon Skills Show earlier this month, where over 200 young people took part in our survey, sharing what matters most to them. They want more safe spaces, better parks, and rather surprisingly, fewer potholes. So when even 16-year-olds are telling us they care about potholes, you know tonight's Emergency Full Council on Highways is definitely the right conversation to be having. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few weeks ago, I was delighted to join yourself and the Deputy Mayor at the Jack Petchey Awards evening taking place at the Towngate Theatre and being able to present young people across the borough and recognise them for their achievements that they have contributed towards our borough over the last 12 months. Listening to the case studies of those young people, they were nothing short of inspiring. And tonight I'm absolutely delighted to be able to repeat our commitment that we've made several times throughout this year, that as this borough moves forward, we will continue to listen to young people across the borough, involve them with a real skin in the game in shaping the future of our borough to make sure it continues to be the best place for them to live, work and grow up in as we go forward. Over the last few weeks, I've continued to meet with youth organisations across the borough and repeat that commitment tonight to continue to engage with them as we shape our youth services going forward as well. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to announce to full council tonight, as we've heard, belief in Basildon is back. Our residents believe in it, our businesses are believing in Basildon, our government is believing in Basildon once again, and I'm absolutely delighted to be able to announce that the Arts Council believe in Basildon once again, with over £1 million worth of funding coming into our borough over the next 3 years. As this borough moves forward, arts and cultural activities are absolutely vital for our residents to be able to enjoy what's best about Basildon, to be able to celebrate what's best about Basildon, to be able to say those that Basildon hasn't got a lot going for it, to put them to one side and be able to shape our borough going forward. And this £1 million worth of funding that we are going to receive from Arts Council England over the next 3 years will enable us to put arts and cultural activities right at the centre of our borough's future. Over the last 18 months, I've updated council at several opportunities around our area committees. The purpose behind the area committees is involving all members, all 42 of us, giving us a real stake in the game, giving us a real opportunity to be able to invest in our communities and put forward our priorities. In the last 2 weeks, I'm delighted to be able to announce that over £75,000 worth of funding has been committed from members that were part of those area committees in being able to invest in their local priorities. Whether that's youth activities, whether that's park benches, whether that's being able to celebrate residents and our community activities that are taking place. Those investments are absolutely vital. And I'm particularly proud of the work across the Basildon Area Committee in being able to invest in youth services going forward with the One Up Collective, and also, as we approach Remembrance Day, in being able to celebrate our armed forces that have made a huge sacrifice to us that we should never, ever forget. Councillor Power quite rightly referenced her favourite event of the year was the Basildon Skills Show, and I can't deny it's an absolutely vital event, and it's important for our young people to have the Skills Show and being able to have activities and look forward to the employment opportunities we have going forward. I do have to compete that, though, with the Basildon Half Marathon. And I apologise, Councillor Powell, but it was my favourite event of the year, was the Basildon Half Marathon. It was so good that I'm delighted to be able to announce Sunday, the 13th of September 2026, the Basildon Half Marathon will be returning to our streets. And who knows, I might have an extra 42 sign-ups for the half marathon taking place across the course of the evening. We'll see. Mr Mayor, this borough is moving forward. This administration is delivering it, and it's an administration I'm proud to support.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. That's working. Right, I have a few announcements to make. Starts off really the first one from last Monday. Councillor Blake might be sympathetic to this one. People launching fireworks up until 11 o'clock last Monday night in the kids' park. The following morning I came in and went, that was a one-off event. The shops are just trying to push fireworks sales and the kids are pestering the parents. So I am a man with a plan for Halloween and fireworks night. I shall read to you what has been agreed by my officer, Julie Long, Head of Housing Improvement and Community Safety. Hello, Councillor Smith. I have organised, as requested, for patrols of the borough in a bid to deter antisocial behaviour and criminality over the Halloween and fireworks season. Brief announcement. Highway, blah, 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 blah. Right, the Basildon Town Centre community safety officers will be conducting patrols in areas at increased risk of unregulated fireworks. Dates: Halloween, Friday the 1st, Saturday the 2nd of November, and Tuesday the 5th of November. The purpose is to deter the use of unlicensed fireworks and ensure public safety within the town's parks, open spaces during the Halloween and bonfire period. The patrol plan. Town Centre patrols will continue as normal until 4 o'clock. Evening mobile patrols from 4 p.m. till 10 p.m. Officers are to conduct mobile patrols covering parks and open spaces, deterring unregulated firework displays. Officers will use company vehicles to complete these mobile patrols. So, residents speak, we take action. Shouldn't have to happen. Thank you, Councillor Blake. On that note, It reminds me on the 5th of November, there was definitely one person who went to Parliament with the right intentions. So we've taken action there. The second thing, which will be coming to Cabinet this week, as I mentioned, within the Public Space Protection Order, there was the option, which we are now taking up, with a consultation on face covering. You know, like the hoodies with the mask over the face on the scooters, and I'll be talking about scooters in a moment. It's to deal with them, as I said mentioned earlier, previous meeting, and also an officer has identified, and we've got my full support, and that of my Cabinet colleagues, is to use the Public Space Protection Order to ban catcalling in the town centre. If we are to regenerate our town centre, any lady should be able to walk through our town centre without feeling uncomfortable. And that public space... And that public space protection is there about it, because as Lakeside just one giant car park, especially now till February, we've got the Health Diagnostic Centre. We need to deal with crime and antisocial behaviour to get the female pound just as much as the male pound in the town centre, because that's how we regenerate our town centre. It's bread and butter to it. My pet subject, scooters. We got rid of those dreadful green things with a bit of assistance from Councillor McGowan. So they're gone. That was the first stage of dealing with these antisocial behaviour scooters. We are now on to the second stage. Myself and the leader did mention about a little gear up with the police. That has worked. To date, 30 such scooters have been seized, crushed and recycled. And when Julie Long gave me the number, she had to have that little Donald Trump treatment. Start praising when you put another note on the end, because that sends the message out there. I spoke to a parent in my ward whose teenage son, who's 14, has got a scooter, and I said to him, I really wouldn't take that in the public highway, because if that is stopped by our teams and the police, that gets crushed. You don't get it back. It might be turned to a portable toaster TV combo, but you won't be getting it back. And we've dished out loads of fines. That's good. The next thing, I spoke earlier about catcalling. The other thing, we could do with real cats, but we can't have real cats to do this, so we have to do the next best thing, is what the Germans call Ratte die Flieger, which translates to flying rats, or as we call them, pigeons. There's too many in our town centre. If you represent Nethermain, I'm sure they have the same problem in St Martin's with flats. The pigeons are nesting, they're defecating, they're a health hazard. So the officer working with us, James Hendry, has got a quote. We just need to match it with some funding, but it's a fair price, to have a chap in the town with a falcon 3 days a week and discreet traps to reduce the population. We don't want to be like some other councils, as we saw last week in Lib Dem Richmond, nicking a lady for pouring a coffee down the drain. I think they dropped that charge. We don't want to go down that path first. Deal with the flying pests, educate the people they're a health hazard, and bring that pigeon population down to something sensible. We're not killjoys, but pigeons are just full of diseases. We need to reduce that population, because there's too many of them flying rats in the town centre, which are also causing damage to our housing stock, which Councillor Brown has to take money away from essential repairs to pigeon-proof, clean his places. So let's reduce that population. That's what enforcement's about. And the final thing, we've discovered that this council has never taken up, and this is through conversations with James Hendry and the Chief Executive, is that there are businesses out there, particularly takeaways, breaking into the bins of flats that we're responsible for, bumping their refuse in. So what I've put James Hendry on to doing, in the worst ones we've discovered, and we're going to try this out as a trial, is give them 7-day wonders. Now, Councillor Blake will understand the police idea of a 7-day wonder. It's a similar principle. Our staff will go down to these venues. They will say, how do you dispose of your waste? Can you prove it? Let's see some paperwork. Oh, you can't. Right, well, you've got 7 days. If you don't, we're going to financially come after you, because it will stop fly tipping, this will control vermin, and more importantly, when our enforcement and cleansing teams, under the responsibility of Councillor McGowan with refuse, go to a block of flats, like we saw in Vanshill Drive, and go, how many black sacks in that bin? Well, if there's commercial businesses putting them in there, we've got to stop them, and we've got to enforce that. And I'll shut up now. I came into this meeting at 7:30, and it's now 9:10 according to that clock. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Are there any other Cabinet members wishing? Councillor McGarren.
Thank you. Well, it wouldn't be a council meeting, would it, if there wasn't some more good news from the King of the Bins. I've got two announcements for you tonight, and I think you'll like both of them. The first one, and there's a certain irony here, because those that know me know that I'm not a fan. I'm quite a traditionalist when it comes to Christmas, so I'm not a fan of the supermarkets and shops being full of Christmas at this time of year, and Christmas trees going up. I'm even getting nods from Councillor Blake there. Christmas trees going up at the 1st of November and all the rest of it. But however, having said that, and Councillor Blake knows this as well, you have to plan for Christmas if you're in charge of the waste collection service. And so the good news is, again this year, the Green Waste Collection Service will only be stopped for 3 weeks. Not the 6 weeks of a couple of years ago that went down like the proverbial lead balloon, but just 3 weeks. And for those who want to know, it will go right up till December 24th and will restart on January the 19th, as will the real Christmas tree collection service. And again, at the risk of being controversial, I'm really controversial, I know, those that say, oh, why do you have to stop for 3 weeks? You sound a bit like Ebenezer, to be honest with you. You should have better things to do during the Christmas period than be filling your green waste bins. But more importantly, you should be recognising the phenomenal job our waste collection crews do at the busiest time of the year. And if we don't, thanks Kevin, and if we don't stop the green collections for that very short period, they will not be able to deliver that phenomenal service. So again, I think we all agree, good news. The other second piece of good news is, and if you live in Wickford, and we always love to deliver for Wickford, don't we? We've had so much good Wickford news tonight already. The delivery of the sacks has started. Well, it's not even started, it's virtually completed. I think as of this morning, James Hendry told me there was literally 3 roads in Shotgate that hadn't had the deliveries. If we have missed you, inevitably there will be the odd ones that gets missed. There is a system for reporting it via the website. You've got plenty of time. You will get them. Don't panic. The deliveries in Billericay have started, and they will be rolled out. You know, can't do them all at once, obviously. Being rolled out in Leindon, Pitsea, Basildon. Everyone will get them in good time for Christmas, because we know that's important. We know how important it is, because as Councillor Kerry Smith said, you know, it's about listening to residents and giving them what they feel is important, and we know that's important. And just to reiterate, as well as the deliveries going forward, I've made sure that the Basildon Centre and all the libraries are fully stocked up as well. So if you do run out before the delivery gets to you, get down to your local library or get down to the Basildon Centre. I will make sure they continue to remain stocked. Finally, just like to say, thank you again to James Hendry and his team for all the phenomenal work they've done to make this possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Brown.
It's all right. I'll press Kerry's. It's fine. Oh, it's all right. No, it's fine. Don't worry. If that makes sense. Or where is it? No. Okay, there we go. Adele Brown, not Kerry Smith. Okay, so I want to share a couple of positive things that are part of my portfolio. I want to start with the Basildon Greener Route Initiative. This is something in partnership with Basildon Council and Essex County Council, looking at how we can make our bus routes greener, but also safer and more accessible. I had a wonderful opportunity to go along to the event of opening some of our bus shelters down Whitmore Way. We're getting 18 new bus shelters down there that not only are more greener, but they're much more accessible and really take into account the needs of some of our residents who are blind and neurodivergent and the kind of experience that they have when using the bus shelters. So we're really proud of the fact that not only are they smarter, they're more sustainable, but they're also more inclusive, and therefore they benefit all of us to be able to have a much more accessible public space. This week, last week even, it was Essex Housing Awards, and Basildon Council through Sempre Homes were nominated for 10 awards in total. We ended up with 2 awards and 4 highly commended. Which is wonderful for Sempre and the organisation that they are, but we've got to remember that Sempre are in the business of changing lives through allowing people to have homes for the first time in some cases. It's about giving residents the opportunity to rebuild their lives and to have a home for their families where they can grow and prosper. I want to just mention Tilly Jones. She's one of our apprenticeship people that work for Sempre, and she was one of the highly commended for the Moslade Rising Star Award. It's a brilliant example of the way in which, as a council, we can nurture that next generation of officers to give them the opportunity to work and grow and learn in their hometown and have a big impact on what that town can look like in the future. So congratulations to Tilly. We've also been doing some work with the homeless charity called Greater Change, which is all about ensuring that we can help people have personalised budgets, help them overcome whatever practical barriers they may have that lead to homelessness. It's about clearing rent arrears, it's about securing deposits, it's about enabling them to gain training to work and future opportunities for themselves and their family. So far we've been able to help 79 local people that have been supported, and that's saved us as a council around £3 million in public costs. Because ultimately if a family ends up in temporary accommodation, not only is it a huge expense for this council, but it's also a failure for this council that a family have been reduced to that state, and that temporary accommodation is nowhere for a family to thrive, and that's why the leader has ensured that temporary accommodation and reducing the number of families, particularly children, in temporary accommodation is one of our key priorities. Earlier this month, the Economic Development team, with myself, we hosted a first-time buyer event. We've said that we're in the business of providing homes for lots of different people who are looking for different types of homes, whether that's social housing, private rent, or wanting to buy a home for the first time. It was a really fantastic event. We had nearly 300 people come along to that event. And it was also a way of supporting some of our local businesses that are part of that supply chain, the mortgage advisors, the financial advisors, the estate agents. So we had a whole array of businesses that were there. We had Fisher & Jones, Greenwood, My Mortgage Angel, Basden Pathways, Unity Financial Advisors and others, and I'm sorry if I've missed off your name from the list, that were there to give practical advice and help these predominantly young people along that daunting path to see what could ultimately bring them their first home. Finally, the leader and Councillor Powell have talked a lot about that £1 billion investment that is coming into this borough. But this is a result of our planning and economic development teams working together to bring forward some really positive developments that provide homes, thousands of skilled jobs and millions of pounds for training and apprenticeships, and a way of investing in the future infrastructure of this borough. These projects bring new opportunities, but they also boost pride in this borough. When you look across all of these projects under my portfolio, I think it's clear that we're talking about cleaner transport, new homes, local jobs, support for families, things that really tell a clear story. This administration are about building a hopeful future for everyone across this borough, no matter which part of this borough you live in. That you can feel proud of the place that you call home, and you can truly, once again, believe in Basildon.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. I've received no notification of announcements from the planning chair, licensing, audit and risk standards or appointments and appeals. Have any announcements from the Chief Executive? None. Okay, that concludes the announcements. Moving on to item number 4, the notice of motion. The notice of motion is before you. I call upon Councillor Smith. Yeah. Pardon? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I'm just changing the microphone. Thank you. So I now call upon Councillor Smith. You have 10 minutes to move the motion. Do you have a seconder?
I do, Mr Mayor. Erstwhile Councillor Mo Larkin.
Thank you.
I'll second my motion. Right, we all ready?
We're all ready.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, members, for making the effort to come tonight for this emergency general meeting. I tabled this emergency motion to make sure that we are able to put this block on. For me, the one key point about tonight's EGM, if it is passed tonight, is that the mandate for Essex County Council ends May 2028. They will no longer exist. I will no longer be a county councillor. County Hall will be boarded up, probably stuck on Rightmove. The bits that are listed are protected, and so forth. But what business does it have dictating what the new shadow councils that will be elected in May 27 shall do? What mandate do they have to rule over Thurrock and Southend's highway decisions? If the 5 decision is made, or 3, we'll be in a council where there's 2 leading unitaries or 1 leading unitary that has highway experience that we could work on, and we will not be able to work on. They will lose that highway expertise for this particular contractor of Essex County Council's imposition. Yes, they have said they're not chosen their contractor yet. That's out for tender. But for me, they have no business mandating when they are abolished. Now, if one of the new 5 or 3 democratically elected shadow councils in May 27 decide to do that deal with Essex, decide to keep them, then that's a democratic right. If, say, Mid-Essex goes, we love this particular contractor Essex County Council uses, we would like to keep them, and they've made that conversation with the public, that's fine. That's democratic, that's right. But I like to think of this whole unitarisation of Essex, and it's not a poke at the Conservatives, it's just how I see it. It's a bit like the collapse of communism in Eastern Europe. Could you imagine Poland saying to the Russians, oh, could you keep your secret police behind? Could you keep the way you do things and the rationing cards? No, they wanted to stand on their own 2 feet, make their own decisions. They knew what was best for those countries that suffered under the red flag of communism. They knew what was best for them. So why can't we and the fellow people of Essex in the new 5 or new 3 councils decide what is best for them? That is the crux of it. There are other points I've placed upon here tonight. Before I go into them, Councillor Aldridge, I don't know his ward as well as he does, has asked for an alteration which I have accepted, which will be in point 6, and I will read this out. So I shall read the whole EGM out because there's members of the public watching tonight. And it goes, Council urges Essex County Council's leader and cabinet not to extend the contract for highways with the present contractor for the following reasons. 1. Essex Highways never attends meetings of the planning committee. With many major planning applications that have and will be heard by this committee, objectors raise genuine concerns, but Essex Highways never answer them due to their constant absence at all meetings of the planning committee. The general quality of their repair works is not acceptable. I've spoken at a previous motion about that item. I don't need to go into detail. They have not learnt their lesson from that motion. Councillor Larkin asked me to come in after I tabled that motion that was successful. A planning briefing. It was in Bursted Wold and there was parish councillors there. I think one of them knows yourself quite well, Councillor Callaghan, from this member's time on the Standards Board from many moons ago. I think you're old friends, to put it nicely. And they made, the point is they made very valid highway concerns. And they asked Councillor Larkin, they asked our planning team, they went, this is down to Essex Highways. And if they don't make a comment, you're stuck. Number 2, they've changed this round. So, yeah, number 2 was the general quality of their repair works. It is not acceptable. I don't need to labour that point. I think if we had a motion about their highway repairs, I think we could speak for hours and hours as members. So we can move on to item 3. The pavements are not, whoever's retyped this up, it's the same as that. 4, the overcharging of road safety and other schemes via the Basildon Local Highways Panel is ripping off the hard-pressed taxpayer. Pre-COVID, they said to me, Essex Highways, through the Local Highways Panel, to have a new traffic light upgrade crossing instead of the zebra crossing on Langdon Hills High Road is needed. I went, great, can we have it? It will need about £180,000. It still sits in their list of works. There is no funding. How does a zebra crossing cost £180,000? For that money, I just looked on my phone, I've seen 2 properties for sale in my ward on Rightmove for that money. So a set of traffic light crossing costs the same as building a brand new flat. How does that work out? Unless you're being tucked up by the contractor. I can name other costs, such as on Clayle Road. You know the speed camera in the Vange part of Evermain? I asked for a bus shelter and they said it needs a concrete base. Fine. £6,500 for the design works. Is that just design? Yes. So I went, forget it. I spoke to Stuart McDermott, who had that role at Basildon Council to do that sort of works on Basildon Council-owned land. He said there's a standard set of manuals. It's 10 minutes work of an officer. So who are they going to design a concrete base for a bus shelter for £6,500? Versace, Dolce & Gabbana or someone like it. Because it just doesn't add up. It's a rectangle thing. The manual tells you how deep you go, what you do if there's any power supplies. You give that to the contractor, they buy the material, they do it, done. Then we can get a bus shelter. And I can't even get a nice bus shelter that Councillor Adele Brown was talking about for my residents who live at Hill Court. They'd love a bus shelter, but thanks to the rip-off prices of Essex Highways, they can't have one. Then we go on. And this is something in Councillor Aidan McGovern's brief. Essex Highways should repay Basildon Borough Council for all vegetation work undertaken on Essex County Council-owned land. I know you're on it, but the point is, in the summer, I had residents on to me, it's not in my ward, Southern Hay, about the state of the hedges. If you walk from Kingswood into Basildon Town Centre, at that crossing, it was dangerous. Pedestrians sort of like that, leaning over and hoping a HGV lorry or a bus isn't coming past. But through speaking to yourself and James Hendry, Basildon Council had to pay to cut a hedgerow that Essex County Council is responsible for. Shame. Unacceptable. Then we go on to the next point. Basildon Borough Council should be the first borough, district council in Essex on each of the 3 annual herbicide spraying programmes. We shouldn't be the last one. All walkways on housing estates such as the Langdon Hills estate, Vange Hill Drive, 5 Links and Councillor Aldridge, this is his alteration, he had Swan Lane, Wickford and Hodgson Way Shopgate should never be missed off on the promised annual 3 sprays of herbicide per annum. Thanks to the changes of the area committees funding the pride teams, as soon as I got where to dictate where they go in the first fortnight of August, they went straight to Vange Hill Drive. No word of a lie, the weeds were growing through the paving slabs 18 inches because Essex Highways never ever sprayed the walkways. They do not want to get off that little cabbie truck where they just stand on the side and do that. And our pride teams who were meant to be doing stuff that's our problem was having to clear up. And it weren't just spraying weed killer, they strimmed, they scrubbed the rubbish out between the cracks in the paving slabs and then sprayed herbicide. And people around there are so grateful, but that was 38 grand for my area committee. That's done Essex Highways, or rather Ringway Jacobs, a financial favour. And it's beyond a joke. People in Vange Hill Drive, the Langdon Hills Estate, 5 Links, and the areas Councillor Aldridge rages, Swan Lane, Wickford, Hodgson Way, Shopgate, their council tax money is just the same as someone who lives in posh parts of North Essex's pound. Your money's all the same when it goes to County Hall, and everyone should be treated the same way. Then we go on to the end of the EGM request. Council respectfully, see, I've learnt from Keir Starmer when he talks to the Donald, uses the word respectfully, request that the leader of the council writes to Essex County Council to urge them not to extend their highways contract, but instead find another contractor or bring the service back in-house. And this is the one that I think will be needed upon, because they don't like listening to anyone but themselves. Should Essex County Council continue with their policy of ignoring Basildon Borough Council, that the council instructs the leader to write to the relevant minister to review the decision to extend this one-sided highway contract. So that's what we're here about tonight. We can have the gripes about the little things, but who wants to tie this council and its successors all across Essex into a lengthy contract with penalty clauses? I thought the Conservatives, and it's not a poke at the Conservatives in this chamber, but the pokes at the Conservatives at County Hall and their leadership. I thought there was a party of choice, letting parents choose what school they want to go to and other good things like that. But why can't they allow the successor councils to choose who will take over what we are told is £1 billion of taxpayers' money? I shall leave that there, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. So that alteration needs to be consented by the council without discussion. Do we agree to the alteration of those 3 roads in Wickford? Okay, agreed. Right. Mo seconding. Councillor Larkin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My reason for supporting Kerry Smith's motion this evening is the disgrace of our roads, footpaths and anything to do with Essex County Council highways and Ringway Jacobs. In Basildon, why do we have to pay all the council tax to Essex County Council to be the poor cousin in Basildon always? Now, getting back to planning and our roads, and I know you agree with me here, Councillor Blake. I have to put up with awful remarks on Facebook calling me Labour and Gavin's pet. I am myself independent. My thoughts are myself. Gavin or Labour have no influence on me and never talk to me about planning. I do believe that most of my planning committee are in agreement with me on this point. Are Essex County Council doing a good job on highways and infrastructure? I will leave you all to answer that question. Our planning committee have 3 golden rules to follow on large-scale planning applications that we know our infrastructure cannot support. Highways, as a consultee, never turn up for our briefings. Or worst of all, our committees, shameful. Their highways consultant always supports the application. I have never known them to refuse. Can we discuss with them the whys and wherefores for our officers and invite them to attend? They never show. Is this why we want a unitary? Or do they dislike Basildon? As always, because we are north of the county, they like our commercial council tax. We could keep this as a unitary. Basildon needs houses, it needs homes, but only recently I truly believe we need new roads. Our main road is the A127 arterial road, a major road designed to carry a high volume of traffic. The function is a primary road, a link between local streets and highways from the M25 along the Dunton Fortune of War. Nearly every night there is an accident. The traffic stops and the road that feeds Basildon, Billericay, Wickford, Pitsea, Langdon is at an absolute standstill. Basildon Borough needs a relief road sooner than later. The government want to build, baby build. We need a relief road. We cannot widen it as we have built houses along from Dunton. But we have an area along Dunton which will support a relief road, not 1,100 houses and homes, which stops the traffic compulsory. In 1996, there was a scheme for the road. It was brilliant, a comprehensive, and would have resolved the problem. Guess what? Essex County Council did not have no money for Basildon. I hope Essex County Council are listening. We can only pray. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Turn the microphone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now the matter is now open for debate. All those who wish to indicate. Councillor Emma Callaghan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm really pleased to support this motion tonight because it cuts right to the heart of what's wrong with Essex County Council's approach to highways and why residents across Basildon have had enough. For 15 years, Ringway Jacobs has maintained Essex's roads and pavements. And for 15 years, our residents have raised the same complaints over and over. Broken pavements, crumbling roads, and dangerous conditions that take months to fix if they're fixed at all. Take Kirby Road in Pitsea. The pavements there were marked out for repair at the start of this year, but works are yet to begin, leaving parents pushing prams across cracked and uneven paths just to get their children to school. Or Plumleys, where a resident first reported dangerous defects in the road back in January, defects that even caused injury to their young grandson. After countless inspections and false promises, and countless emails and calls from me to County Hall, the work finally began on the 22nd of October, 9 months later, and even now, some areas remain unfinished. And that's the problem in a nutshell. At Essex County Council, it's always mañana, mañana, especially when it comes to Basildon. But our residents have waited long enough. The patience they had has worn down to nothing. They don't want another inspection, another excuse, another delay. They want safe pavements, smooth roads, and answers. And why is that too much to ask? And now Essex County Council wants us to sign up to a new 7-year highways maintenance contract worth around £1 billion and running until 2034. At the very same time, they're heading straight towards the end of the county council model. This just seems like a power grab before the music stops. This just locks in failure and ties the hand of any new councils that might be created through local government reorganisation. The reason we are pursuing LGR is because this system doesn't work. It ends in 2028, not 2034. Councillor Kevin Bentley should start respecting Parliament because he's making a lot of enemies, and this is a strategic error. That's why Basildon Council is tonight calling on the government to intervene and stop this procurement until after reorganisation is complete. In our letter to the Secretary of State, the leader made it clear that Essex County Council should not be allowed to progress any highways procurement extending beyond March 2028. Future unitary councils must be able to determine how they deliver their own services. Existing unitaries already do that, like Southend and Thurrock. Why can't Basildon? The cross-party group behind the call-in, myself, Councillor Kerry Smith, Councillor Aidan McGurran, Councillor Pat Reid, and Councillor Lee Scordis from Colchester, are united in asking for 3 simple things. 1, an honest review of how Ringway Jacobs has actually performed. 2, a fair and open tender process that any company can bid for. And 3, cast iron guarantees that any future councils aren't trapped in a deal they didn't sign up to. Right now, it looks and feels like the same old contract under a new label. And after 15 years of missed targets, poor communication and weak delivery, Basildon deserves better. Our people pay the lion's share of their taxes to Essex County Council and expect the basics to work. Roads they can drive on safely, pavements they can walk on without tripping, and a council that listens when they report a fault. Instead, we have contractors hiding behind red tape, residents waiting months for repairs, and a county council that is signing away the future without acknowledging its failures. We will not support another 7-year deal without local control and accountability. We will not entertain another decade of failure from the same provider. And we will keep standing up for residents who pay for this service and get so little in return. Basildon deserves better. Our residents deserve better, and we're not backing down until we get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Reid.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At a recent meeting, it was noted that Basildon has received more road investment than any other area in Essex. While this is welcome, it is also highlights the extent of neglect our roads in Basildon have suffered over the years. Despite this significant spending, many roads remain in poor condition, and our residents continue to experience unsafe potholes and inadequate drainage. Extreme weather is often used as a cause of road damage, yet countries with much harsher climates manage to maintain their road infrastructure to a higher standard than we do in Essex. This suggests that the issue lies not only in environmental factors but in the quality of materials used, the responsiveness of the maintenance team and the accountability of the contractors. Basildon deserves a contractor that is committed to excellence and proactive in maintaining safe roads. I do not feel that Ringway Jacobs has shown that they are up to the job looking at their current record. I feel that the new unitary authority should have the right to award their own contractors and not to have to take on the contractors chosen by Essex County Council. Since I became an Essex County Councillor in 2017, I have expressed deep concern and feel very frustrated regarding a lot of our roads and pathways in Pitsea. One in particular is the heavily used pathway in Travers Way. This is a vital link for school children walking to and from local schools, residents accessing Pitsea Town Centre, commuters going to work, and parents with prams and residents with limited mobility problems. Despite its importance, the surface remains in a diabolical state. It is uneven, hazardous and unsuitable for residents to remain safe. Every request for fixing or resurfacing this path has been met with the response from Essex County Council that it does not meet the criteria. This is unacceptable given the volume and diversity of foot traffic this busy path supports. Basildon residents deserve safe and accessible pathways and roads, and again I would reiterate that the current contractors do not meet this criteria.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Gavin Callaghan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to Councillors Smith and Callaghan for bringing this important motion before Council tonight. Through the whole of this LGR process, we have... sorry, did you indicate? Sorry. Do you want me to carry on? Yeah, okay, sorry. Throughout this LGR process, we have sought to leave our... I'm not winding up, so there'll be time after me. To leave the party politics at the door. The officers and the leaders from across Essex have engaged in this process in good faith because we believe in what's right for our boroughs. Unfortunately, Essex County Council, as we are seeing here tonight, have not done the same. What we are debating is a deliberate and cynical act, one that flies in the face of the government's own guidance and undermines the spirit of LGR across Essex. The government has been crystal clear that no authority should be signing off major contracts or extensions while devolution and reorganisation is underway. We have applied that same principle here in Basildon, for example, with the Morgan Sindall contract, where we have agreed that any major decisions should be left for the new council to decide. That is about integrity, about good governance, and it is about respect for democracy. I do think, as has been mentioned, we should remind ourselves why local government reorganisation is happening. For 50 years, residents have been blaming Basildon Council for potholes, pavements and roads that we have never been responsible for. Essex County Council are responsible, and they have demonstrably failed. Decade after decade, our taxes have been used to resurface roads in Saffron Walden and Morden, in Braintree and Brentwood, all whilst roads in Billericay, Wickford, Leindon, Pitsea and Basildon crumble. That is why LGR matters, because it really is our Independence Day. It is about bringing power home and making sure that when residents complain about a pothole, the councillors they elect can actually fix it. Our residents have been subjected to a diabolical highways contractor. In the last 24 hours alone, I've had hundreds of messages from residents listing every road and pavement cracked, broken or unsafe. If this was the private sector, this contractor would have been out on their ear years ago. I defy any member in this chamber thinking about voting against this motion tonight to tell me that their residents are satisfied with the way that the current system works. The geniuses at County Hall think that an extension to the contract is the answer. They've taken a failed system and they are seeking to make it permanent. And it is not just that failure, it is the total lack of consideration for what this means for the south of the county. Whether Essex ends up with 3, 4 or 5 unitary councils, Basildon will inevitably join with a council that, as Councillor Smith said, has already got its own highways contract. That means we will be creating a 2-tier highway system, with one half of the council getting a level of service whilst the other half of the council gets something completely different, but everyone paying the same council tax. And when the new council tries to fix it, they are going to face eye-watering costs to buy their way out of these bad deals. We should call this, Mr. Mayor, exactly what it is. It is sabotage. And it proves once again that the Conservative leadership at the County Council simply do not understand, or perhaps worse, do not care about the impact of their decisions on South Essex. Councillor Bentley's behaviour throughout this process tells us everything we need to know about his understanding of redesigning council services. His beleaguered business case for a 3-unitary model shows no grasp of public service transformation. He claims that they must extend this service by a further 7, not 2, 7 years because they have to deliver value for money. But there is no assessment of what this really means for the new councils or the kinds of contracts the new councils will be seeking to deliver. As we have seen from adults and children's social care, when you are in a large authority, far from economies of scale, you actually get more expensive pricing. The same is true of highways. We should begin the tender process for the new councils for highways in 2026, giving us 2 years to get ready before they take over in 2028. Delaying transformation savings until 2034 is a dereliction of duty, and it speaks to why the County Council has presided over declining outcomes for years. I want to be clear, Mr. Mayor, in winding up, that we will not wait until 2034. From the moment that the Secretary of State makes his decision, we will begin that transformation process of services. And I have raised these concerns personally with the Secretary of State and his advisers, and I won't speak for the government tonight, but let's just say that this Essex County Council is hurting their own cause right now. They are making it harder for anyone to defend them. Now, who knows who amongst us will choose to stand for election to the new council in May 2027, and who knows what the composition of that council will look like. That is for the voters to decide. But whoever wins, they deserve the chance to lead without their hands tied by a reckless county council determined to lock in failure. I think that the new councils with new leadership should start and have a fair start for their residents, not 4 more years of potholes, cracked pavements and wasted money. So tonight this is a vote on whether or not you think the current system and way of doing things has served the people of Basildon well, or whether or not LGR should herald in a new era for people. And I don't think Basildon will forgive councillors tonight who decide to be silent while others are continuing to waste our money.
Councillor Callaghan. Councillor Joseph.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and colleagues of the Council. Tonight I will be supporting this motion. Let's just be real about this. Essex County Council is trying to tie us into another long-term deal with the very same highways contractor that has consistently failed our residents. This contract has failed to deliver value for money, and it has exposed the false economy of Tory outsourcing to private companies. And here's the most shocking part. Essex County Council itself will be gone through local government reorganisation. So why on earth should Basildon be stuck in a contract with people who won't even exist in the system? This contractor hasn't delivered for Basildon, full stop. Our roads are crumbling, residents are dodging potholes like an obstacle course, cars are being damaged, and in Langdon Park, my ward, it's a daily frustration. Let me give you just a few examples. On Miles Gray's Road, residents have described it as one of the worst roads in the area. Over on Langdon Link, near the busway, residents say patch repairs are constantly done, but potholes are left right next to the repaired bits because, and I quote, "It's not on my tablet." One resident, a surveyor, said the vibrations from buses hitting those potholes shake his house and damage the structure of his property. In America, they drive on the left. In Langdon, residents drive on what's left, and that's how bad it's gotten. For 50 years, Chelmsford has been calling the shots. 50 years of decisions being made by people who don't live here, don't drive here, and don't face what our residents face every single day. And let me be clear, you cannot fix a local problem with distant hands. But this isn't just about shouting into the void. There's a real opportunity to turn the tide. The Labour government has actually shown leadership on this. In March, the government announced a £1.6 billion of investment to tackle the scourge of potholes, funding going directly to councils. That's 500 million more than last year, and for the first time, every council in England must publish exactly how many potholes they've filled or fixed, or lose their road funding. That's accountability in action. When Basildon becomes a unitary authority, we should be the ones deciding how to use that money, not Chelmsford. That's how you deliver results people can see, not patchwork excuses. Our residents deserve better than this. They deserve safe roads, not endless excuses. They deserve action, not delay. For too long, we've had to wait our turn. Power should sit closest to the people it serves. Well, our turn is now. When Basildon stands on its own, we take back control of our roads, and we make sure that every pound spent reflects the priorities of our people, not Chelmsford, not Uttlesford, not Braintree. Our borough, our roads, our say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Turn your microphone off, please. Councillor Westwick.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and members. Just indulge me, I won't take up too much more of your time. I want to talk about the state of our roads and pavements. They are unsafe, and Essex County Council is not doing enough to fix them. People are getting hurt, and children are being put at risk. These are just a few examples of messages that residents have sent me this week. Mrs. P from Manor Avenue says, "I walked my dog and I tripped on the uneven pavement. I twisted my ankle and I couldn't take time off work, so I had to cope with it myself and I was in pain for weeks. Is that fair?" Mrs. S from Dalton Fen is worried about the children. She said drivers are so busy avoiding potholes and they don't see zebra crossings on the roundabouts, putting our school children in danger. Again, is that fair? Mrs. C from Pound Lane. She said to me she saw a man fall from his mobility scooter on the uneven path. She also said for 16 years, only a small section of pavement has been fixed. The rest is so dangerous, people with buggies and scooters or bicycles have to go into the road where they can get hurt. These problems are not rare. They happen all the time. Potholes, broken pavements, unsafe roads, making it dangerous for everyone. Residents and councillors keep reporting it, but nothing happens. Members, we cannot trust Essex County Council to keep people safe. Lives and children's safety are at risk. Renewing this contract would be letting them fail once again. The choice is simple. Do not renew this contract. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Headley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I will take up the challenge from the leader, and I will not be supporting this motion. The motion itself is conflating several things. Planning is not really part of the contract, whoever that may be with. It's not an extension of the contract, it's a re-tendering of the contract, and it will be a competitive tender. I won't go into any more detail on the contract at this stage because it is subject to 2 call-ins, as Councillor Emma Gallagher has already said. Local government reorganisation is the sword of Damocles over all of the councils in Essex. What I do believe is that it's essential that all services, not just highways, but adult social care, SEND provision, looked after children, school to home transport, home to school transport. These are all big budget items, and the contracts need to have some continuity. Now, I appreciate the leader's passion for getting involved, but he's probably aware that Thurrock Council, in all the plans I've seen, Basildon and Thurrock end up in the same unitary. Thurrock deals with 353 miles of roads. County deals with 5,000 miles of roads. Thurrock has 21 discrete contracts to provide their service. And you're going to find when the unitaries are eventually set up, on vesting day, you need to be ahead of the curve. I appreciate that. You do need to do a lot of work in the run-up from the shadow authority to vesting day. And you will have the opportunity, but it's essential that all councils that have contracts at the moment have some continuity of service. You can't expect highways to say, well, we'll wait till vesting day. So we do need that continuity. And I would urge councillors to really consider what they're asking county to do. By all means, write to county. They will give it careful consideration, as they always do. No, they do, honestly. And in terms of the local highways panel, well, I've been there 26 years, and I've never had a problem. And I have to say, the repairs and the resurfacing of roads in my division has been excellent. You know, if you've driven down Hillside or Hillway, Valley Road, Perry Street actually is being worked on at the moment with Caden. There's a lot of infrastructure work going on. The roundabout at Gooseberry Green and the roads off, all completely resurfaced, as was Perry Street. Now I can't. Well, you know, Kerry listed a number of problem areas. Kerry listed a number of items in his area. All I'm telling you is that I have no problem in getting roads fixed in my area.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Blake.
Thank you, Mayor. Some of the points have been covered. Well, some of you obviously haven't been reading your own motion. There are at least 3 inaccuracies in it. Firstly, it is not an extension to the contract. It is a completely new procurement process where there will be several companies bidding for this contract. So it's factually wrong. Secondly, anyone will know that I've been highly critical of Essex County Council as regards to not attending planning meetings, and will continue to do so until I see some improvement. However, this is not a process carried out by the current Highways Company, as you have implied in your motion. It is in fact Essex County Council highway officers who, in my opinion, should be attending those planning meetings, not the contractor. Thirdly, the perception which most people tend to have regarding the amount of funds that our residents contribute to county is that we pay more in to this county highways than we get out. This again is factually incorrect. However, more concerning, and I did raise this with the Chief Executive tonight, more concerning is that this motion has been allowed to be put forward on the grounds that you are naming the company by implication that it is the current contractor. It is in my belief that this could jeopardise the bid in a big way. I am of the understanding that all companies bidding for any contract are confidential bids and that the name of the winning contractor and those that have been unsuccessful is not known until there is a meeting of the Cabinet with the outcome. Even then, this will be in Part 2, so no member of the public are aware of the companies that bid. I know if I was the director of this company, I would seriously consider taking legal action against Basildon Borough Council, either before the process or certainly after the outcome if they are not successful. And tonight alone, we've had somebody say we are being tucked up by the contractors. I'm sure they'd be very interested to hear that when they go for their bid. We've also had 3 members of the opposition specifically name the people, the contractors. So, and it's really poor that you should be doing so. I hope that you can, first of all, nobody could actually support this because it's actually factually wrong, as been proven. Well, you can shake your head, but it's not an extension of a contract. That cannot be denied. You know, it's as simple as that. So, as far as I'm concerned, I would not be supporting this, and I urge the rest of my team tonight, first time I've ever been able to say that, to do so as well. But I seriously challenge what's happening, that this has actually been allowed to come here in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blake. Councillor Sharda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, this is a piece of political theatre we have before us, and I'll explain why I characterise it as such in a moment. But first, I'll agree with my colleague, Councillor Blake, on point 1 of the motion. All of us, particularly those who've served on planning over the years, agree on the egregiousness of Highways' consistent failure to attend meetings of the committee. But Councillor Blake is right, and Councillor Headley mentioned this as well. It's irrelevant to the motion, which is about the maintenance contractor. It wouldn't be them we want at committee anyway. It's the Highways officer. So point 1 is, I would suggest, a red herring. The motion is ill-conceived and bogus on several fronts. Firstly, as Councillor Blake also noted, it refers erroneously to an extension of a contract, but that's not what's happening. As I understand it, this is the procurement of a new contract because the current one is coming to an end, can't be extended, so a new contract has to be put out to tender. It may be the current contractor puts in a successful bid, but maybe not. Now, unless it's the position of this administration that Essex Highways shouldn't have a contractor and should undertake no further road maintenance between now and the establishment of the new unitaries, which I think would be an exceptionally daft proposition, I think we begin to see the rage-baiting performative theatricality that lies at the heart of this motion. Look, I've worked for a highways authority in London for 12 years. And look, you know, those who take the moral high ground trying to defend a highways authority are not going to be troubled by heavy traffic. But I can tell you that highways maintenance is essential. It's a universal service. Everyone relies upon it in one way or another. The challenges are huge. And nowhere is that more true than here in Essex, where County Hall are currently responsible, as Councillor Headley mentioned, for almost 5,000 miles worth of road. It's the largest contract of its kind anywhere in the country. And the county calculate, and Councillor Reid possibly alluded to this, because they've crunched the numbers as part of their preparations for local government reorganisation, they spend approximately £3.4 million more in Basildon than they receive in funding from us. So maybe that's because we're getting hosed by the contractor, but I guess we'll see, because pretty soon highways will be disaggregated and unitaries will have to fund it themselves. So be careful what you wish for, because we won't have County Hall to kick around. The bottom line is this: Highways needs to commission services for 27-28. I understand County, nonetheless, are building in an ability to novate services to the new unitaries when these come online. So it seems self-evident to me Highways has a responsibility to ensure continuity of service with flexibility to allow services to disaggregate when the contract novates to unitaries. It seems bizarre the administration takes such violent offence to an industry standard term contract that is fundamentally necessary. Now, perhaps the leader might have taken less umbrage had he bothered to attend the stakeholder meeting with other Essex leaders earlier this month, but I'm told he did a no-show. I gather it was explained that future unitaries will be able to make changes to their contract. There's no guarantee of volume volume or spend under the new contract. So each unitary can determine its own preferred highways operating model. In conclusion, I can't see what all the fuss is about. When I go back to my opening point, this is ultimately political theatre, orchestrated by the parties opposite. Fundamentally, we're being asked to oppose an extension that isn't happening. So all in all, it's a total waste of time, Mr. Mayor. If people want to go around and look for problems with highways, trust me, I know all too well, you will find them. But to suggest that Essex County Council don't need to appoint a new contractor and that we don't need any continuity of service as we move through local government reform is absolute folly. So it's a very silly motion. I'm not going to vote for it, and I would encourage others not to.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Journet.
Perfect. Is that on? The mic's on? Ah, brilliant. I think it's the wrong way round here. No. Won't look at the camera. Look.
Could an officer sort out the microphone,
Thank you very
please?
much.
Thank you. We'll have a pause while that happens.
Of course. Of course. We need to clip it up later, don't we? Of course they sat me here. They thought I was going to be over there tonight, didn't they? There we go. We've got the video now. So first of all, I want to say thank you very much to the co-leader of this coalition administration, Councillor Kerry Smith, who's propped up this Labour administration for God knows how long. Obviously, thank you for bringing this motion. And secondly, the question I want to ask is, have you taken into consideration that on the very first day of this unitary, if we do not have a highways contract in place, what happens if there's a massive pile-up in the middle of the town centre? What does that mean? Does that mean we don't have nobody to look after our roads and fix the issue? Or are you waiting on Thurrock, or are you waiting on Southend to use their services to be able to cover ours? Embarrassing? Very much so. And the fact that we're bringing this motion here tonight, talking about sending a letter, okay, I mean, the leader or the co-leader of the cabinet or of the administration, yeah, that's fine, yeah, that's fine, has already sent the letter off. So what are we doing here tonight? What are we doing here tonight? You've already sent the letter, and funnily enough, it was on the old letterhead that we paid a lot of money for. Yeah, you can take the mick out of me over there. No problem at all. No problem at all. But we spent over £100,000 on a new logo, and you didn't even send it off on the correct letterhead. That is how ridiculous. That is how ridiculous it is. So, quite frankly,
Councillor, thank you.
The fact that we are...
Councillor Journet, complete your speech in peace and quiet.
No
Thank you. No, I'm talking to everyone else. Thank you.
Okay, no
Councillor Journet, you may continue.
Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. And the fact tonight that the contractor who currently has the contract has been named on several occasions, this has left us open to legal... I've not said the name. I've not said the name. I just said the contractor in place today. You has already been mentioned, okay? You have left us open to legal review on that particular... So you've basically handed that particular contractor that contract all over again. What a waste of our time. I will not be voting for this tonight because you've already sent the letter. You've already sent the letter. What's the point? What's the point in us voting on something you've already done? What a waste of our time. So I won't be voting for this tonight. I will not be voting for this particular motion. Yes, thank you very much. It is amazing because the letter's already been sent. So what is the point of us being here today? Thank you very much. Oh, really?
Thank you, Councillor Journet. Councillor Lawrence. Okay. Councillor Brown.
That was bad. That was really
stairs, Kerry. It's fine, I'm not bothered.
I look better.
Seriously. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I think we need to clear up some misconceptions here. What we are saying is, at present, Essex County Council have a failing highways contract. When this administration had a failing contract under Morgan Sindel, we sought to change that. We did not seek to extend that contract. We did not seek to go out to procurement again. We made a decision to make a change that worked for our residents. Essex County Council have made the decision that they're going to go and once again procure a contract that we, as a local authority, will not be able to influence and will not be able to change for the next 7 years. That is ridiculous. We're talking about 5 years after a council wouldn't exist. They are still tying this council to a policy, to a contractor that they chose. That is the fundamental of this. The whole point of LGR is that those new authorities will be able to make decisions for themselves based on local needs and based on listening to their residents, not on what Essex County Council continue to decide is best for them. That is not what LGR is about. In no way is this council asking us not to have a contract. What we are saying is, from 2027, we can, the new shadow council, be able to start that procurement process. What we are saying to Essex, yes, that is true, Sam. Look at your chat GTP, it'll explain it. What you need to understand is there are ways, if they've decided that they want to extend a contract or go out to procurement for a new one, you would do it for 2 years. You would not do it for 7, tying in all of the new authorities into Essex County Council's failure. Let's be clear, this contract has been a failure. We do not want to be part of that. So, not in my opinion.
There'll be no discussion across the chamber. Thank you. You address the mayor and no one else. Thank
Through the
you.
mayor, there is not a resident in this county, there's not a resident in this borough that would say they don't have too many potholes, that their pavements aren't broken, that highways has not failed. The fact that you don't recognise that says you are not listening to your residents.
Oh, shame.
I think what is important tonight is that we focus on the fact that we are saying to all councillors here, do not let Essex County Council continue to decide this borough's future. Continue to decide how we spend our residents' money. That is what the vote is about tonight. Thank you.
Councillor Smith, you have 5 minutes to wind up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, there's facts and there's facts. So, to deal with Councillor Blake's point, through the chair, he said about the highway contractor has nothing to do with planning. I have the page here on my phone on the Essex County Council website for planning advice and guidance. And you scroll down and the email address is highways.org, not .gov.uk. Hello, it's a private company. And it's a private company that's working us. And as Voltaire said, if you want to know the people in charge, find out the people you cannot criticise. And when we criticise Ringway Jacob as county councillors at meetings, it's like standing in a Catholic church and bad-mouthing God and all the holy institutions. That is how you are treated. Yet our constituents injure themselves just before Christmas. It was in the division that Councillor McGurran and Councillor Callaghan representing my ward. The Knowles, there was a gentleman in the ambulance. I spoke to one of the neighbours. What was his ticker? No, it's them curbs that Essex refused to fix. And Councillor Callaghan and Councillor McGurran sent me a follow-up email. And they said, well, it does need fixing, but we don't know when. And one thing I need to put to people, because Essex will not give me this data anymore, the Yellow Advertiser kindly published it, and they couldn't dispute it. As of 2018, with the budget they're spending on highways compared to the works outstanding, 112 years to do them. That is not good enough. We got rid of thanks to Councillor McGowan. We didn't have a failing. We had a failing contractor in Parks. You're fired. Councillor Dale Brown. I tried leaning on Morgan Sindel. Then you took the handle and you took the inner Trump into you. You're fired. And comments made by the opposition. If you are getting a NAF service, get rid. Give us the money from county. I'm sure Councillor Callaghan can find someone, because the highway inspector must be either Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles.
Devolve it.
When you look at the state of our roads, they are terrible. But there's one member of the opposition I would like to focus on now. It's Councillor Headley. I love political loyalty, even if it's against me. And the loyalty Councillor Headley has expressed tonight to the leadership of Essex is commendable. We don't
Shameful.
I
Shameful.
say, Councillor Brad, I see it as commendable. As Harry Truman said, if you look for politics, if you look for loyalty in politics, you're better off getting a dog. So when I see Councillor Headley's unwavering loyalty to the administration in county, I know in May 28, when the Cabinet are biting on the proverbial political cyanide, when they're gone, I'm sure Councillor Headley will be there to sort of dig the pits and throw them in and throw some petrol on them. That's the loyalty. I like seeing that in politics. But that doesn't help our residents. We've seen an option tonight, Basildon first or kowtow to County Hall. And those who kowtow to County Hall, please come down to A&E. I represent a lot of nurses in my division, and we spoke about people who trip over, they injure themselves, and if they're elderly, but they've been mobile, and they have that injury, it puts them back years. They may end up in a care home. They may be taking more pressure on our social services. All because County Hall do not give a fig. And one statement made by Councillor Schrader about, he just picks out one set of numbers, the council tax. Can I just remind him through the chair to yourself, Mr Mayor? Hello? We're the second biggest economy on the Thames this side of London, mate. You make no mention of the business rates. And with the leader's efforts to regenerate the economy in Basildon, thanks to my colleague Councillor Larkin getting the data centre through on planning, all that business rates. And where's the big chunk of that going to? County Hall, lovely jubbly. Well, come May 28, those business rates will stay in Basildon. We should be able to pick a highway contractor, not some sort of cosy arrangement at County Hall to do the least amount of work to get not the best outcome. It's about people's safety, value for money, and sticking up for Basildon. That's the choice tonight. Are you with Basildon? Or are you with County Hall? That's the decision to be asked.
Thank you. I now put this motion to the vote. All those in favour, please indicate. All those against? And abstentions? 2. That vote is carried. Thank you very much. There are no urgent motions. Therefore, I wish you all a safe journey home.